Today on Shredding Spree, we're going racing. Oh. We're out here in beautiful Fontana, California. We're about to go register for this race today. Before I do that though, I've noticed that many of my viewers are between my age and mid-40s, and so I'm gonna just talk to you guys for a second. You ever notice that once you pass 30 years old, that life is always kind of like digging at you a little bit about how old you are? Like, let me show you, just let me show you. My registration form, and here's all the classes. So there's like there's 18 and under expert, 34 and under expert, and then this is where I'm at now, 35 plus. I'm in the 35 plus category now. Kind of takes me back to like the moto days when you'd be like signing up at the tent and filling out your registration and 125 intermediate, and then you just kind of like take a little glance at the other classes and you'd see like 30 plus, 40 plus, and you'd think like, oh, that's cute. Good for them. Good for them, still out there doing it. Well, that's me now. That's us. Anyway, this is my third mountain bike race ever. I've raced out here once before. I did downhill a couple years ago, and they'd only let me sign up for the sport class because they want you to have some podium finishes, like I think 3 or something in a certain class before they bump you up. But I'm gonna try to sign up for expert today and just see if they'll let it fly. But I was racing downhill and I actually did it on my hardtail because I came out on the Sunday, which is downhill only, but it ended up working out fine for me. I actually did really well. And the only other race I did was cross country, so that's terrible for me. I'm not set up for that. So yeah, I think I'm a little more suited for expert. Maybe it was kind of a fluke thing that I did so well in a downhill race on a hardtail last time, but last thing I want to do is be called a sandbagger, because nobody likes a sandbagger. All right, so we got all signed up, got my number plate, gonna stick it on the bike and chill out a little bit before we can go do a couple practice runs. I feel like most of the guys that ride this series are local, so they're much more familiar with the mountain, and I'm not. So I think that might put me at a bit of a disadvantage, but I think we'll be fine. Okie dokie, this is my second time up on the hill. I just had a conversation with the promoter. So I thought there was 3 stages today, but it turns out there's only 2. So that's a little bit easier to wrap my head around. The second stage was quite a bit more pedally than I was imagining. Long uphill section, no real fast downhill. I actually think I might leave the bike in trail mode and tighten up the fork a bit, just so the thing kind of goes forward a little bit more, since gravity's not going to be there to help me. We're getting to the top here. We're going to check out the first stage. Now, these are all a little more pedally than I thought they would be. So when I scope these turns, I'm trying to find the straightest line through them. Woohoo! I have to take another look at that one. That was not the line. Finish. Okay, we're gonna backtrack just to that last rock garden, because that was not a line that I just took through there. So didn't really realize when I went down slow, but there's a couple of rollers here and the kids are doubling it. So you kind of like come by the rock and bunny hop a rut, and then you just sprint as fast as you can all the way until you pump into this. And you can hit this as 2 rollers, or you can double it. Basically all you really have to do is clear the lip here. You can land flat on this table and it's not that bad. It's a pretty solid send. Definitely pedaling as hard as you can when you do it. God. Yeah.
You almost made it to the backside.
I got my front wheel down, it felt like. It's not so bad.
No.
I was in kind of the wrong gear.
Yeah, we all thought you weren't going fast enough.
Well, it's that moto history. I got that preload action, you know?
I cleared once. My heart rate is still through the roof.
Who's the guy that tagged it? I saw that. Holy shit. Like both wheels. Yeah, it probably looked like I was going slow because I was barely getting the cranks around.
The jump feels really smooth.
The lip is kind of perfect.
I was so scared to do it the first time.
The less you think about it, right? Yeah. I have to just not think.
I just said, fuck it.
Well, sorry once again, I'm blowing it with the camera changes. I left that in linear again, so probably didn't see much from that run I did. I'm just gonna push up to right here and give it another go. See? That's why you gotta do a speed run. This is the next cool spot. A little bit of an option line. You can sort of ride high, which feels safe because it's flatter. But if you stay left, it puts you into a better spot for this turn. You can kind of catch that transition right there and it kind of guides you to the right. So that's basically it. Aside from this double here, that little rock drop, and then there's another little other rock bit down there. There isn't really like a lot of technical know-how. It's more about, I think, just knowing the course, because a few of the things when I came at it at speed, it kind of put me off in a direction that was not the correct direction. So it's 11:18 now, so technically practice is just starting, but I'm already practiced. So I'm gonna go down and eat a PBJ and chill out. All right, so I did make some changes after running my practice runs. I was wearing some enduro pants with knee guards underneath. Had the chin bar on my helmet, but I was like, I'll leave it off for practice. Probably not gonna be going too rowdy. I also was running the goggles instead of the glasses. But after doing a few runs down, the course isn't very difficult. Like, the hardest part is the pedaling. You just kind of gotta be smart about it. Actually ended up removing the enduro pants, going with some shorts, lost the knee guard so I can pedal better, and back to glasses. Basically in a regular trail get up now. All right, stage one about to start here. Kind of gotta pee now.
I always get that.
Yeah.
Literally every time. Even if I just peed like 5 minutes ago, I'm about to go and I'm like,
Yeah.
Don't talk about it.
I'm just gonna go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds.
I blew that section right there so bad.
Did you?
Yeah. I had to like bunny hop over a bunch of ruts.
3, 2, 1. 1 minute right on deck. Kurt, you behind him? 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Stage 2.
3, 2, 1.
Woo.
I'll put this in double speed since I don't think hearing me huff and puff is exactly riveting video to watch. This climbing section was pretty brutal and everyone was complaining about it, especially me. This is my first enduro race I'd ever done, so I'm not really knowledgeable about how the courses usually are. But personally, I didn't really think it was normal to have this amount of climbing in an enduro stage. But what do I know? I've never even done this kind of race before.
Oh. Well.
Welp is right. Way to go, Chris. You lost your focus for a second because you were more concerned with complaining about the climb, and it took you down.
No sparkly run today. On stage 2. Let's go. I went down. Yeah, one of those lefties in that loose dirt. Tucked the front. I was like dipping in left and my front wheel went a little too wide and just blew the outside line away.
All right, we're back at the house and it's time for my post-race debrief. After stage 1, I came across the line in second place. I was about 1.5 seconds behind the leader. I feel decent about that run as I didn't make any major mistakes, but I did take a wide line in a left turn towards the bottom, which then caused me to have to negotiate a bunch of ruts and set me up poorly for the next turn. I feel like that cost me a couple seconds.
Stage 2 was going fine, obviously, up until the crash. For the long uphill section, I opted for the preservation route. I put the seat up and just decided to spin hard throughout the climb in hopes that it would benefit me in the long run. There's really no way to tell if that was a smart move or not because I crashed shortly after and that went my time. But that crash was such an amateur move, man. I literally remember preparing to say something to the camera about how much I hated the climb. Next thing I knew, I ran a little too wide in the turn, washed out, and was on the floor hugging some rocks. I should have known better than that. Frustrating. So overall, on the day, I ended up in 3rd place, which doesn't sound too bad, but there was only 4 people in my class. And the guy that got 4th place didn't show up for the 2nd stage, I think because he had a mechanical issue with his bike. But even with the crash considered, I finished only about a 1.5 seconds behind 2nd place, so he must have had an issue too. My biggest takeaway from the race day is to try to do a better job conserving my energy before the race next time. I tried to only run practice laps enough so that I could learn the trail, but I still think I kind of overdid it. My sprinting was noticeably weaker from the race stages versus practice time. A good measuring stick for this would be to look at my landing spot on the double in practice versus the race. I would say in the race, I probably came up about 3 feet shorter than I did in practice. Which brings me to my next point. I'm wondering if my lack of preparation before race day had anything to do with my inability to ride strong throughout the day.
Maybe you should practice sprinting on your regular bike rides.
Nah, too much work.
Maybe you shouldn't have pizza and beer the night before a race.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe you should practice on an e-bike.
No way. All in all, I had a nice time, even though I didn't win. Winning's not everything. I didn't feel like the stages were particularly fun to ride, but I did enjoy the process of showing up in that morning and trying to figure out how to go fast on a new trail. I also enjoyed meeting more people from the mountain bike community. It's nice to make new friends, especially at my old age. So that wraps this episode. Hit the like button if you think you could have beat me. If you want to take this relationship to the next level, hit subscribe. That was a weird thing to say.